Most people don't actually live their lives. They bounce between two extremes. One moment, they are obsessed with self-improvement, waking up at 5 a.m., stacking habits, tracking every calorie and task. The next moment, they are burned out on the couch, scrolling, eating, avoiding everything they promised they would become. Discipline, collapse, control, chaos. All in, then nothing. If that feels uncomfortably familiar, this episode is for you. This is episode 1 of Buddhism Explained, the timeless path to awakening. Let's kick things off with the core of Buddha's journey, the middle way. We're going to explore why your life keeps swinging between indulgence and self-punishment, how the Buddha himself tried both extremes more radically than you ever will, and what it actually means to live in the middle without becoming bland, passionless, or spiritually lukewarm. By the end, you'll see why real freedom doesn't live at the edges of experience, but in a narrow, powerful space in between. Stay with that tension for a moment. If neither extreme works, where do you go? Think about how you approach change. You don't just decide to be a bit better. You launch a war. You declare a new era. No more sugar. No more distractions. No more toxic people. No more laziness. You draw up rules. You promise radical consistency. You almost enjoy the harshness. It makes you feel serious, different from the undisciplined masses. For a few days, maybe a few weeks, you keep it up. You are strict, controlled, impressive. And then, almost without noticing, your body starts to revolt. You're tired, irritable, craving something, anything that doesn't feel like effort. One slip turns into 3. 3 slips turn into I'll start again on Monday. You fall into the opposite extreme. Comfort food, late nights, endless scrolling, avoidance. Here's the first uncomfortable question. Are you actually trying to transform your life? Or are you just addicted to intense swings? When change means going from 0 to 100, balance feels insulting. Moderation sounds like failure before you've even begun. And yet, if extremes worked, you wouldn't be watching this. The Buddha knew this pattern long before there were productivity gurus or dopamine detoxes. Siddhartha starts life at one extreme, the palace. His father surrounds him with beauty, luxury, and pleasure. No sickness, no old age, no death, all hidden from view. Servants, music, feasts, soft clothes, perfect gardens. Every desire is met before it fully forms. From the outside, it looks like the dream. From the inside, something feels wrong. Pleasure without understanding becomes strangely hollow. Comfort without context feels like a lie. When Siddhartha finally leaves the palace and sees suffering, sickness, aging, death, the shock is unbearable. The illusion shatters. The world is no longer a playground. It's a field of pain. And his mind does exactly what our minds do. If one extreme was false, the truth must be at the opposite extreme. If comfort deceived him, then pain must purify him. If indulgence numbed him, then denial must wake him up. So he runs to the other side. For years, he lives as an extreme ascetic. He starves his body. He refuses basic comfort. He pushes himself to the edge of death in the name of spiritual progress. Other ascetics admire him. His ribs show. His eyes sink. He is winning their game. But inside, he discovers a devastating truth. He is no closer to freedom. The scenery has changed, from silk sheets to bare earth, but his mind is still caught, still restless, still chasing, still suffering. If changing your environment and punishing your body were enough, wouldn't you be free by now? How many times have you changed the rules of your life? New diet, new routine, new productivity system, new relationship standards, only to find the same old anxiety waiting for you in the new configuration? Different palace, different dessert, same mind. One day, after pushing his body too far, Siddhartha collapses by a river. A young girl offers him a bowl of rice. Nothing mystical, nothing dramatic, just a simple act of care. In that moment, he stands at a crossroads that every extremist faces. Cling to the identity of the one who goes further than anyone else, or admit that this identity is another prison. He eats. To the other ascetics, this looks like weakness. They say he has abandoned the path. They leave him. To them, he has fallen. To him, something finally relaxes. This is the first quiet step toward the middle way, choosing sanity over performance. How many things are you still doing? Not because they work, but because they let you feel hardcore, devoted, different? How much of your misery is actually ego in spiritual costume? Soon after, Siddhartha hears a musician tuning a stringed instrument. A string that is too tight will snap. A string that is too loose will not play. Tightness and looseness are both wrong in different ways. The music lives in the narrow tension between them. He realizes this is not just a metaphor for sound. It's a metaphor for life. When your life is too tight, pure control, pure grind, pure denial, something in you eventually breaks. When your life is too loose, pure indulgence, pure apathy, pure surrender to impulse, something in you dissolves. The middle way is not a bit of both. It is right tension. Enough effort to move you forward. Enough softness to keep you human. Think of the areas in your life that hurt the most right now. Work. Are you strangling yourself with pressure or drifting with no direction? Food. Are you punishing every craving or obeying every craving? Relationships. Are you clinging or running? Spirituality. Are you chasing purity or dismissing everything as nonsense? In each case, notice the same pattern. You oscillate between too tight and too loose, and call that living. Here's where the tension builds. If you stopped living at the extremes, you'd lose something. You'd lose the story of yourself as a tragic hero, always suffering more than others. You'd lose the drama of the binge and the drama of the reset. You'd lose the ability to say, "Look how serious I am. Look how far I go." Extremes give you an identity, even if that identity is broken or burned out. The middle way quietly asks you to drop that identity. No medals for how much you endured. No applause for how hard you pushed. No spectacle. Just a nervous system that isn't constantly screaming. A body that isn't constantly overruled. A life that doesn't have to be a crisis to feel real. Are you willing to become less impressive? To become more free? The middle way is not a rule book. It's a relationship with your own limits. It asks you to notice with brutal honesty. When does discipline tip into self-harm? When does rest tip into numbing out? When does sacrifice tip into martyrdom? When does pleasure tip into addiction? It doesn't say, never push or never indulge. It says, stop worshiping the edges of everything. Because as long as you chase extremes, you will be blind to the quiet middle where life actually works. It's not a soft middle of blurred intentions and vague effort. It's a precise middle, tuned like a string. Imagine, just for a moment, living a life where you can work deeply without burning out. You can enjoy food without spiraling into guilt. You can love someone without losing yourself. You can pursue growth without despising who you are now. Not constant ecstasy, not constant discipline, something stranger and rarer, sustainable clarity. Here is the final reveal of the middle way, the part most people never hear. It is not about becoming less intense. It is about being less possessed by your cravings, less possessed by your fear of failure, less possessed by your need to prove something through suffering or excess. The middle way doesn't flatten your passion. It frees it from the violence of your extremes. So before we move on, ask yourself, where is your life too tight? Where is it too loose? And what would it look like in just one area, work, love, food, spirituality, to tune it a little closer to the middle. Not as a 30-day challenge, not as a new identity, but as a quiet experiment in sanity. In the next episode, we'll go deeper into why we suffer at all. The Buddha, his Four Noble Truths, his diagnosis of the human condition. For now, sit with this. You are not failing because you can't hold an extreme forever. You are human, and your path out of suffering might begin the moment you stop asking, "How far can I go?" and start asking, "How gently and how honestly can I walk the middle?" So before you click away, I want to hear from you. In the comments, tell me, where is your life too tight and where is it too loose right now? It could be work, food, relationships, or your spiritual life. Naming it is the first step to tuning it. If this episode gave you something to think about, please like the video. It really does help it reach more people who are stuck in the same cycle that streams. If you know someone who's always bouncing between burnout and collapse, share this with them. You might give them a language for what they're living through. And if you want to keep walking this path through the Four Noble Truths, karma, mindfulness, impermanence, and beyond, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next episode in this Buddhism Explained series.